Demand forecasting in supply chain is often a controversial topic because many believe it's an art, not a science. This leads to costly overstocks and frustrating stockouts. Today, I'll show you how GenerateProbabilisticForecasts applies rigorous science to demand planning so you can finally quantify uncertainty and make decisions with confidence. Let's explore why this problem is so persistent in the supply industry. Demand is inherently unpredictable, influenced by seasonality, promotions, competitor actions, and global events. Traditional tools give you a single number forecast which ignores all the possible variations around that number. At quarantadue.ai, every MCP workflow starts from the real tool interface, not from a generic prompt. The goal is simple. Keep the expert in control while the system structures the evidence. Inputs, reasoning, and outputs stay connected in one reviewable flow. Now the results become easier to compare, easier to review, and easier to explain. This forces planners to add arbitrary safety buffers, which are either too costly or insufficient. Generic software and spreadsheets can't handle the complexity of probabilistic modeling, leaving teams with manual, error-prone processes. The real-world challenge is immense, balancing capital tied up in inventory against the risk of losing sales and customers. Now, let's understand the technical method that makes this possible. GenerateProbabilisticForecasts uses two powerful techniques, quantile regression and Monte Carlo simulation. Quantile regression doesn't just estimate the average demand, it models the entire distribution, predicting different percentiles like the 10th, 50th, and 90th. This directly gives us prediction intervals. Then, Monte Carlo simulation takes these distributions and runs thousands of random scenarios, accounting for every conceivable combination of variables. This creates a complete picture of demand uncertainty. A common misconception is that this is just fancy statistics, but it's actually a practical framework for decision-making under risk. You don't need to be a data scientist. You need to understand that planning for a range is smarter than planning for a single point. So, what does the GenerateProbabilisticForecast software actually do? It starts by ingesting your historical data, sales, promotions, weather, economic indices, anything relevant. The system cleanses and prepares this data automatically. Then it applies quantile regression to build demand distributions for every product, location, and time period. Next, the Monte Carlo engine simulates countless future scenarios, outputting probabilistic forecasts with clear prediction intervals. You see not just one future, but all possible futures. Every calculation is logged in a detailed audit trail for compliance and review. You can also run what-if scenarios. What if a key supplier fails, or what if demand surges unexpectedly? The software models these impacts on your inventory instantly. Let me walk you through a hypothetical example. Imagine you're a planner for electronic components. You have data on past sales, and you know demand spikes during new product launches. With GenerateProbabilisticForecasts, you input this data along with launch schedules. The software calculates that for next quarter, there's an 80% probability demand will be between 50 and 70,000 units. It also shows a low probability tail where demand could hit 90,000. With this insight, you can work with procurement to secure flexible supply agreements for the high probability range while having a contingency plan for the tail risk. You optimize inventory without overcommitting capital. The outcome is a resilient plan that meets service targets efficiently. For compliance and reporting, GenerateProbabilisticForecasts generates clear, stakeholder-friendly reports. These documents show prediction intervals, key assumptions, and scenario comparisons, all formatted to meet regulatory standards. You can export to PDF, Excel, or integrate with BI tools. The goal is to make complex probabilistic data accessible for executives, auditors, and planners alike, ensuring everyone is aligned on the risks and strategies. In closing, GenerateProbabilisticForecasts moves your supply chain from reactive guessing to proactive, science-based planning. By embracing full demand distributions, you reduce costs, improve service, and build an agile operation. To see how this can transform your planning,